paddled up a river and hiked to a waterfall, hiked to the Nepali coast that's a really spectacular hike.
Did you go to Queen's Bath?
Didn't do the Queen's Bath, no. We did a luau, I did lots of surfing. I got in about 6 times in the water. Great waves. I just got out of the water about an hour ago. There's big waves at Rodeo Beach. Steve Baker says, okay, right now, give me a call.
Okay.
Do you need his number again?
Yeah.
Steve Baker. Hang on just a second. It's 415, of course. I think Steve lives in Mill Valley.
Yeah.
Steve's number is 269 4999. He sounds much better.
Okay. 269 4999.
It's funny, he says K.
Mr. Baker.
Yes.
It is Edward. How are you?
Doing great, Edward.
Good. Okay. Let's try that again. Just put the turn the mics off, but go ahead. Start talking.
I'm doing well. So the mics are off and on.
Yeah, they're on now. Just for some reason, someone turned them off. Okay.
Okay.
All right. You got your headphones on too?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can. All right. You guys.
You know the drill.
Okay, so we'll do our two-minute little introduction thing here, and then we'll get right back with you. And away we go. Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Bruce McGowan, longtime sports radio personality. Today's show is going to be fun. We're having guests on. He's going to be on, not in the studio, but he's going to be on the phone.
There he is, right there.
Yeah, we hear in the background.
That's right.
Who's going to be our guest today?
That is Steve Baker. Steve Baker. Oops. Hang on a second. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I think. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
A little technical problem there. Steve Baker, our good friend who is a frequent guest on the show, a local sports agent, and you can hear Steve is. I think he's getting one of his kids into the car right now. That's a great thing about radio is that you can be anywhere and do anything. And, multitask. You can't do that with television or the newspapers.
No, unless you put the...
I'm taking this one step for mankind.
There you
go. One step for mankind?
Yeah, I guess if you're tweeting or texting, that's another thing you can do. You can do that while you're sitting in a car as long as you're not driving, But,
but if you don't have the camera in the car while you're driving.
But Steve is multitasking as is his want, which, he's a sports agent, so he knows how to do these things.
You got to do it.
I'm actually sitting here with my sister staring at the Palace of Fine Arts.
Oh, that is sweet.
Remembering how great a woman in red movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's a famous place in San Francisco for all you people outside of California.
And there are many listening that are outside of California.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, at each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question where the first emailed correct answer is going to win a free vacation to the Lighthouse Resort and Marina. And today's trivia theme is baseball in the 2000 decade.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you guys will probably get the answers to this one. I know that Steve's mostly a football agent, but I know he knows enough about baseball.
Sure.
Too. All right, so stay with us. You are listening to Sports Econ 101, and when we get back, we're going to have Steve Baker, famous sports agent. He's going to have some great stories for us, and also I'm sure he's going to have some interesting football news for us. The fans coming, or excuse me, the
NFL draft.
NFL draft coming
That's
out.
right.
Yeah, we're just reading about reminding. Sports Illustrated was reminding us about 1971. All those guys. Remember Plunkett, Pastorini, Archie Manning, all those guys.
That was great.
Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. So, hey Steve, we're hearing a lot of wind.
Are you outside?
I'm sitting. I'll sit inside my car.
That actually would help. But yeah, for some reason, it's kind of windy.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Let me just save the file here. That blows my speakers a little bit. All right. So this is Sports Econ 1. We are going to be on the 23rd. Nice music.
This is my daughter's new favorite song. She says, "Get this movie for me, Papa."
What is it?
It's Ellie Goulding. I've never heard it. I heard it today while I was getting an ice cream, and she goes, "If you hear it, I don't know the name of it." Steve's probably heard this, right, Steve?
You got kids.
You got kids. You heard this song, right, Steve?
I don't know anymore.
Does that sound familiar?
Are you asking me a question?
Yeah. Can you hear that music?
I can't hear it.
Okay, never mind. I gotta stop
Are
it.
the Beatles still popular?
What's the song?
It's called "Love Me Like You Do" by Ella Goulding. I guess she's some up-and-coming young star. But my daughter said if you find it on the internet, save it for me and send it to me. So I'm going to do that.
You can do that.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready? Here we go.
We are.
Okay, so you're in your car now, Steve?
I'm in my car.
Good, nice
I'm
and right.
not hearing wind anymore.
Nope, perfect. Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Bruce, who's on the phone with us?
We got Steve Baker, sports agent, joining us on the phone. Good to have him aboard. And Steve, I guess before we get into some specifics about the NFL and the NBA, I'd like to talk with you a little bit about how you got into the sports agent business. How does one become a sports agent? Because I knew you were a lawyer, but you don't just automatically go from being a lawyer to a sports agent. There's a lot of processes. You have to be certified. You have to have a lot of connections. How did you do this, and why did you decide to become a sports agent?
Well, my original goal was I wanted to be a producer in Hollywood. And what happened was when I was, before I even went to law school, my father, who was probably one of the 2 or 3 best tax attorneys in New York City, he was actually a classmate of Econ at Harvard.
Really? Wow.
Different politics.
That's right.
I believe 2 of his classmates were Econ Scalia, and there was also an astronaut in the class.
Wow.
I'm sorry, there was an astronaut. He went to MIT before that.
Okay.
I was part of MIT.
Sounds like your dad was a brilliant guy.
My father was a brilliant man. Unfortunately, I don't know if the brains are hereditary, but he was a brilliant man.
You inherited some of that now. Come on.
He was one of the top tax attorneys in the city,
Mhm.
and among his clients was a Schumer organization, which does all the Broadway shows, and Ed Sullivan.
Wow.
He wrote Ed Sullivan's will.
Is that right?
And from a very early age, I had a desire to get into the entertainment business. And when I was in law school, when everyone I knew went to work at law firms, I went and wrote game show questions in Hollywood. And from that, I sort of got the bug to work in Hollywood. And being in Hollywood and developing a series of friendships, something like 45th generation networking, while I was working my way up in the entertainment law world, I'm sorry, actually, it's actually, the VP here is a guy who does a reality show that I'm working on right now, trying to reach.
Is there? That's interesting. You mentioned you work on these quiz shows or game shows when you were younger, and now you're working on a reality show. That's not.
I have an idea for a reality show that I'm helping someone with right now.
Wow. What's the idea?
I can't say.
You know, it's funny. You and I have to talk because I have another idea of a reality show. That's right. In fact, I got an idea for a reality show that I've shared with some people,
Really?
and every time I share it, they say, "That's awesome." Not just that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've even talked to producers about it. So, Steve, you and I are going to get together, and I'm going to tell you about my idea.
See if it flies. Run it up the flagpole and see if anybody salutes it.
That's
But now, Steve, you said you worked on some game shows when you were younger. Which ones? I'm curious.
I worked on Family Feud, Price is Right, and Clark Show.
Wow.
In fact, my first day on the job, I had to stand at the corner of Hollywood and Vine, a picture of Jack Parr, the former
Sure.
night show host,
Right.
asking 100 people for card sharks who recognized him, and I think 8 did.
Wow.
So at one point, he was one of the most influential men in television. But
Yeah.
needless to say, something like 50th generation networking, I met Lee Steinberg, who at the time was probably the most prominent sports attorney in the country. I joined up with him, and I saw that as a good opportunity. I worked with him for almost 5 years, and then after 5 years, I decided to start my own practice.
Mm-hmm. Who was your first client, anyway? Who was your first client of any note?
My first client was a running back called Charlie Young from Stanford.
Oh, yeah.
My first significant client was Ken Harvey, who was a first rounder in 1988 out of Cal.
A great player.
For a period of time,
Yeah.
the highest paid outside linebacker in the NFL.
He was one of those guys, you remember him at Cal. He played on some lousy teams, but when he got to the NFL, he played on some very good teams. It was an important part of some good teams.
Actually, he was a Pro Bowler with the Cardinals, who were terrible.
Oh, that's true. The Cardinals weren't very
And then he
good.
was on
But
the
he was,
Redskins.
yeah.
The Redskins actually got good after him. He was one of the best outside linebackers in the NFL. Got 5 years.
I got to think that's got to perpetuate your career. You know, you start getting some guys, you get them the super high paid contracts, and then that puts you on the map.
Yeah, word gets out, and the other athletes.
There's no question.
Yeah.
It's a great brand builder when you're representing blue chip players.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is Ken's best friend on the team was a player named Terry Crews. played Chris Rock's father on Everybody Hates Chris.
Oh, really?
And I did Terry's last contract in the league for him. She signed, I think, with the Philadelphia Eagles, I think, for 1 week, and went to the playoffs. He actually went to the playoffs more than Ken Harvey. I did something like $40 million this year.
Wow.
So it's not a fair world.
What's Ken Harvey doing these days, by the way?
He is a lobbyist for children's education issues in Washington, D.C.
Oh, that's nice to hear that. That's it. You know,
He's
you always.
also a published author.
Wow.
He writes children's books.
That is so cool. So it sounds like he's quite involved with kids, and that's neat. You hear so many stories about a guy, you know, starting his own business or whatever after he gets out of sports, and that's fine. But when you hear about athletes giving back to the community and being involved with something good with education, that's
I
even
got to hook
nicer.
him up with my wife. She's looking for something just like that.
There you go.
That'd
All
be
right.
a big help.
Now we got to deal with your wife when we got a real reality show.
Yeah, I know. I put it in one sitting.
I like it. Maybe we can get Ava on the reality show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Steve, how do you get certified? Because you said Bruce was mentioning about being certified a sports agent. Well, you know, how do you get certified?
How does that process evolve?
Each sports union has the exclusive right to represent the players, and they then license agents through their right to negotiate on their behalf. And so for example, the National Football League Players Association, the NFLPA has a fairly rigorous test you have to pass, and a series of procedures and rules you must follow in order to represent players.
How many agents are there actually out there, Steve? Are there that many?
I think there's more than I think there are more than 1,000 agents.
Whoa.
I mean, there's over 1,000 agents and only 1,500 clients. So you give it, you know, there's many. I would say probably 25% of the people who consider themselves agents. If they could play football, they would be their one client.
Mm-hmm.
And are they all attorneys?
They're not all attorneys, but I'd say probably 75% are attorneys.
Wow. What was your biggest challenge when you had to negotiate a contract? Can you remember one particular athlete and one particular team that really was a challenge to get that deal done, and it took a lot of work, and you're really proud about how it turned out?
You know, I'd say probably the deal that I'm proudest of is I did a deal for Jeff Garcia in the early part of this decade, where he had just come off of his first Pro Bowl. But the team had the exclusive rights to him because he'd only been in the league for 3 years. And it was finding a way to structure a contract that would make them fairly compensated, but it also, you know, avoid a holdout. You don't want a 3-year quarterback holding out. And I negotiated a one-on-one with Bill Walsh, where we created a structure where if Jeff, we were about $10 million apart in the final deal. And it was already a substantial deal, but I added an escalator into the deal, with the deal increased by $10 million. Jeff were one of the 3 top-rated quarterbacks in the league.
Wow.
And again, it was a very good contract anyway. But but with this clause, it actually made him the first quarterback ever to make $20 million in one season.
Well, and do you get referrals from, let's say, like Bill Walsh, who says, you know what, I really liked working with this guy. I want to. Can he refer people to you?
I don't think NFL team GMs usually refer people, but I had a very close relationship with Coach Walsh, and I think that led to representing quite a few other quarterbacks. But the end story with the Garcia thing is he went into the final game of the season ranked as the 4th-rated quarterback in the league. And in the last game of the season, he had an amazing game, and he passed Brett Favre by like 1/10 of a point.
Wow.
I'm sure that helped you too.
So he made that clause.
I will remember as long as I live.
Oh, yeah, bad. I hope you took him out for dinner. Okay, so stay with us. We're going to.
He should have taken you out to dinner.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we're going to take a first commercial break here, and we're talking about baseball in the 2000 decade. Pitcher Eric Gagne, remember the Dodgers?
Sure.
He set a major league record when he threw 55. Hold on, Steve. When he threw 55 consecutive saves in 2003. Whose record did he break?
Good question.
All right. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Make sure you email Edward at sportsecon101.com the answer to that question. Don't touch that dial. We're having more stories with Steve Baker, sports agent.
All right. Good stuff, Steve.
All right. Let me save this file here.
You should do a talk show, Steve. You'd be good at it.
Hey, you want to be my agent? It would be a dream to do that.
Yeah, you'd be good at it, man.
Yeah, Bruce, tell anyone you want. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
I could also talk politics with Western Green. There's no sports agent in the country that could tell you more about Broadway show Hamilton.
Really?
About who?
Broadway show Hamilton.
Oh.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's got some really good reviews, isn't it?
It's the most extraordinary show to hit Hollywood and it's hit Broadway in 20 years.
Huh.
I mean, it's so interesting because Hamilton, you know,
In fact, it's so successful that the U.S. Treasury announced yesterday they were going to stop their plans to take Hamilton off
I remember hearing that.
the bill,
Interesting.
and instead they're changing the $20 bill.
Wow.
And now someone's going to do a play on Jackson, and they'll have to push it to the $50
No,
bill.
who's being taken off?
I don't think we're going to see a play on that.
They're going to put Harriet Tubman on the
Harriet
20.
Tubman?
Yeah, so they get two.
Wow.
They get a 2 for 1, right? They
Harriet
get a
Tubman's
minority
going to the
and
20.
a woman.
And who's going to be on the 10?
Well, Hamilton's still in the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But
they're
they
going
were
to replace
talking.
Jackson.
I thought they were going to take.
But it's not until 2030 apparently.
Oh, okay. Well, Jackson wasn't exactly the best president he.
No, but he did have a nice duel in the White House.
Oh,
that was awesome.
quite a few.
Among other things, one of the reasons to take Jackson off the $20 bill is evidently, among other things, besides being a rampant racist,
Yeah.
he didn't believe in paper money.
Interesting.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to have
Yeah,
a dollar bill
Yeah.
be held by a person who doesn't believe in money.
Well, he of course perpetuated one of the worst tragedies in the history of this country, the Trail of Tears, which basically robbed the Iroquois people of, not the Iroquois, the Cherokee people of all of their lands unjustly, and killed probably half of them. And you know, it's one of those horrible, instances of American history that we buried. Although it's not been buried, and people know about it, but it's really sad.
See, they put Jefferson on the $2 bill.
Yeah, Jefferson should be on the 20.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Louisiana Purchase, baby.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. We cut to the first commercial break. We asked this trivia question. Pitcher Eric Gagne of the Dodgers set a new major league record.
It's actually Gagne. It's not Gagne.
Oh, you're right. I'm
Yeah,
thinking of.
he's Canadian.
Yeah, who am I
You're
thinking
thinking
of?
of Greg Gagne.
Greg Gagne.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Greg-
right. Eric
Greg
Gagne.
Gagne, yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So he set a new major league record when he threw 55 consecutive saves in 2003. Whose record did he break?
I think it was Bobby Thigpen.
Oh, that would have been a good guess from the
If you'd
Cleveland
like to
Indians.
make a call,
Oops.
hang up and try again.
Well, we will hang up, and we're going to try Steve again.
I guess we lost Steve there.
Okay.
No, it wasn't Bobby Thigpen, huh?
No,
Who was it?
it was Tom Gordon.
Oh, Flash Gordon of
Of
Kansas
the,
City.
No, of the Red Sox.
Oh, the Red Sox. He was
The
with
Red
Kansas
Sox.
City.
All right.
Let's try to
So,
get Steve back.
what do you think? We're trying to get Steve back? Well, let's
Yeah.
try to get Steve back, okay?
Yeah, this is the great thing about live radio. Well, actually, it isn't live radio, but we're doing this.
Close enough to live.
Yeah.
Of course,
Voicemail, Steve Baker.
well, Steve, you're not there, so we're going to have to try you back.
At the tone, please.
I have a feeling he's out of cell range or something, or maybe
Was
he
he
got
in
an
San
important.
Francisco?
Well, maybe he got an important call from Hollywood. You know, I was going to ask him about his. I was going to ask him about his Hollywood connections because it's interesting. I think I've told you this story before. My granddad was a very prominent Hollywood producer back in the golden age, from the 1930s through the early or late 40s, and he produced movies with Henry Fonda, Young Mr. Lincoln. He did a film with Alfred Hitchcock called Lifeboat. Did a thing with Kate Hepburn, as he liked to call her, Kate. Little Women.
Yeah.
So he was an interesting.
So if we watch those movies, we see him in the credits. and
You'll see
everything?
you'll see a producer, Kenneth McGowan, very prominently listed there. He loved the movies, and he produced 50 films for 20th Century Fox and RKO Pictures.
Oh.
Yeah, very prominent. And my dad grew up in that milieu of, glamour, which was really something in those days, because you remember the country was going through, first of all, the Depression and then the war, and Hollywood provided a wonderful service and diversion, which I think really we needed at that time really badly because of all the trauma and terrible times we were going through as a country. So it was interesting. But my grandfather was a fascinating guy. I wish I'd gotten to know him better.
When did he die?
1963. I was only 11 years old, but I didn't really know much about his career until after he passed. And he wrote a number of books about the theater. He was also an amateur archaeologist, and he was involved. You ever heard of the Kinsey Report?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was fascinated with that. He was a friend with Kinsey and did some. What is going on with the telephones?
I don't know. Do you think that's Steve? If that's Steve, tell him we'll call him right back.
That is Steve.
That is, okay.
All right.
Get on the phone, tell
All
him
right.
we're going to call him right back. Tell him to hang up.
All right,
Okay.
Steve. We'll call
And,
you right
let's
back.
see
Hang
here.
on, okay?
We were talking
All right.
about baseball in the 2000s. So
Yeah.
we're going to have another trivia
So
question a little
Flash
later on.
Gordon.
Yeah, Flash Gordon. Pretty good. Okay, we're going to try Steve one more time here.
Yeah. Flash Gordon was a pretty good pitcher.
Yeah.
Pretty good pitcher for a while. I remember he started with Kansas City.
But yeah, this was 1998, 99.
Yeah.
With the Red Sox.
Yeah. He was.
Eric Gagne.
Eric Gagne. Yeah, he was a big, and he had the big goggles. He wore these big goggles.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Are you there?
We got
Okay,
Steve back.
we got you back.
I got the feeling Steve had an important call coming in.
Yeah, did
I
Hollywood
No,
call?
it was to be put cards on the table. As you guys telling me you heard the wind, so I
Oh.
was in my car and started driving my sister back to her apartment and
lost the signal.
went to the streets of San Francisco,
Oh,
called
yeah.
the open light.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. It happens. Go through that tunnel. Anyway,
All right, so Steve, NFL draft. Okay, I know we're still in baseball season, obviously, with the beginning part, but
It's a
you're
big
already
deal,
planning. You're already planning for the NFL draft, I'm sure, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay.
what do you
What's been going on with the NFL draft in the last week, number one and too big, to me is the ultimate reality show. What you're seeing is, in 2011, there was a new CBA where they capped what rookie salaries can be made. And the effect of that was it made the first few picks in the draft worth far more than they ever did before. Because you now get, with the first quarterback taken in the draft, will get a contract for about a little bit under $6 million a year for 5 years.
Wow.
$6 million a year is less than what a good backup makes in the NFL.
Mm.
So you now get a quarterback for 5 years for 1/5 of what he's worth in the present market if he ends up becoming a player.
Hmm.
So, Sam Bradford, when he came out, was going to be replaced by the second pick of the draft. Sam Bradford, when he came out, got paid like a top-notch quarterback because he was paid under the old system. But under the new system, it doesn't work that way.
But that doesn't help your paycheck, does it?
Well, it hurts an agent's paycheck on the first deal, and that the first deal is so much smaller. It helps an agent's paycheck on the second deal, and that the deals for franchise quarterbacks are so much bigger. I mean,
Okay.
in one sense, Jared Goff will make 1/5 of what he's worth if he becomes a franchise quarterback. On the other side, Brock Osweiler makes more money than any quarterback could have dreamed of making back when the system was first created.
One thing that bothers me here, though, let's say a guy comes out of college highly touted and deserves, nobody deserves to make a huge sum compared to, say, some of the veteran players. But let's say the guy's really underpaid, and then he has some kind of an injury, and then all of a sudden all his value, his worth is gone, and it's kind of unfortunate for the athlete.
That's why you buy insurance.
Now, I get the feeling the pro players okayed this. They had to okay this, right, Steve? The NFL Players Association okayed it?
What happened was the players got very badly beaten in the last collective bargaining negotiation because the circuit court that heard the antitrust case that the NFLPA brought against the NFL found that the NFL in their lockout wasn't violating the antitrust.
Interesting.
Once the players lost the leverage of the antitrust laws, battle with the owners, they were frankly forced to sign a deal that was frankly not very ethical for the players.
No, it doesn't sound like it. It's bad enough that guys are facing, brain problems when they get hit, but to get screwed over by a league that's making
Hey, listen,
tons of money.
I understand that the average person on the street doesn't have any fear of NFL players with 20 only get fined.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still a nice paycheck. But,
Well, and how many of these guys are actually that? I mean, how many guys in the America can play football at that level? I mean, we always put,
I'm a strong believer. I'm a strong believer that an NFL player is worth every dime that they get paid.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you consider the sacrifice, the amount of work they put in. I mean, I've covered a lot of NFL over the years, and I can tell you, having flown with the team and hung out with the team and watched them practice, these guys put in it's not just a hard day's work, but it's very competitive. A lot of them, there's no guarantees, and
Lots of ice.
I would say every professional athlete, but particularly every NFL player, is worth every dime they're paid.
I couldn't agree more. And I mean, with the ticket prices they're charging, the amount of money they're getting from the network televisions, all the endorsements. They deserve to get the money. Why not? They're the star attraction.
I certainly have the perspective that the average person on the street is not offended that a player doesn't make X millions more.
Right.
But that said, professional athletes are the upper 1% of the upper 1% of the upper 1%. And in football, you're very likely, taking years off your life because of the abuse your body takes.
It's not happening in the NBA and in Major League Baseball. Those guys are getting paid a lot more money. Now, granted, I'm not knocking them because their skills are special too.
Well, you have a lot more players in football.
You do have a lot more players.
They're still special, but again, I mean, the top end, again, professional athletes make a lot of money, but they make far less money than the work. I mean, LeBron James and Stephen Curry, whatever they make, and obviously Stephen Curry's not going to get the full net contract. Whatever they make pales in comparison to what their real value is to their team.
Yeah, no question about it.
Are there any owners that you get along with really well versus ones you don't?
Probably the owner I know best is Jim York with the 49ers. I think very highly of. And that's probably because I see him the most. That's probably the owner that I know the best. But as a general rule, I have a lot of respect for the typical NFL owner. I mean, they're entrepreneurs that accomplished a lot to get to where they are.
Hey, you mentioned Jed York. Here in the Bay Area, his stock among the fans and the media is at an all-time low. Do you think it's been kind of unfair that he's been singled out as the problem or the reason the 49ers?
Oh, without question.
Yeah, because I feel the same way. I mean, it's always more than one guy.
Well, it's the players too. He's on the field playing.
That's right.
I think they probably made the wrong choice with the coach last year. But a lot of success in professional sports is having the good fortune to be really terrible in the year that a transitional player is available.
Mm.
For example, while I have a lot of respect for Colts and their GMs, they also had good success of being really awful in the year that Andrew Luck was available and being in the year that Steve Madden was available.
The bad thing about that Andrew Luck situation, though, Steve, is that they have a terrible offensive line around him. He's gotten the heck beaten out of him. And who knows how many years have been taken out of his career.
Well, I agree. But, but again, I mean, the key to winning with Andrew Luck is being able to pick Andrew Luck when he's available.
Yeah, good point.
You look at a lot of the great teams in professional sports, they had the good fortune of being really bad in the year that a LeBron James is available, that a Andrew Luck is available. Now, the GM and ownership situations that I respect the most, are ones where, sorry, my sister's asking me a note. Are ones where teams think outside of the box and have great success. An example of that would be the LA Lakers having all their success in drafting Kobe Bryant as a team and then acquiring Shaquille O'Neal as a free agent.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. Point.
There is no greater job of franchise management that I've seen in my entire life than what the Golden State Warriors have done.
Oh, they're amazing. Hey, Steve, stay with us. Station's letting me know we have to cut. Hold on, Steve, stay with us a second. Hold on. We have to go to a quick break. In 2006, and for the first time in baseball history, this player had a 40-40-40 season by hitting 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases, and 40 doubles.
What year was this?
The year 2006.
Okay.
Who was this National League player? Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Sorry about that, Steve. I had to catch you off really quickly here. Let me save this file and we can continue.
You still out in the marina there?
I don't have that much more time, but I mean,
Okay.
We'll just
Are you
just
still
2
out in
minutes.
the marina right now, Steve?
Sorry?
Are you still out in the marina right now near the Palace of the Fine Arts?
I'm now in Pacific Heights.
Oh, okay.
I'm not driving again because I don't want to risk the museum.
Where does your sister live?
What?
Where does your sister live?
My sister's daughter lives in Pacific Heights.
Oh, nice. Okay. Okay. There you
Yeah,
go.
I just want to be able to finish your story, and then we'll let you go.
Okay.
Okay, let me just save this here. Save that
And then, as
here.
usual, you send me the file after the.
Of course. Absolutely.
I was over in Kauai last week, Steve. Real nice waves.
That's why you.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys are ready? We will get this ball rolling here.
This puppy on the go.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce Nightgowan. Here was our second trivia question. In the year 2006, and for the first time in baseball history, this baseball player had a 40-40-40 season by hitting 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases, and 40 doubles. Who was this National League player?
I'm drawing a blank.
Remember how Canseco had the 40-40,
Yeah,
but
sure.
this is the 40-40-40.
Yeah, Steve, you got to venture a guess on that one?
What good? I heard the 40-40-40. I didn't hear what you said. I'm guessing about the year.
It's 2006, and it's the first time in history, National League player.
I'm not drawing that.
I can't think.
Alfonso Soriano.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Okay. There we go.
So, Steve, you want to finish off your story about with the Warriors?
No, I just believe that when you analyze structure, ownership and GM and quality and making a team great. I don't think there's a better story than I've ever seen than the Golden State Warriors. I mean, they've made probably 8 different decisions at the time were not obvious. That were all brilliant. Trading for Bogut, getting rid of Mario Ellie, hiring Steve Kerr, not trading Klay Thompson for Kevin Love.
Getting Iguodala, DeAndre Barbosa.
Having Iguodala, but for all those brilliant things, and I think all those things were brilliant moves that have led to why they're so successful. Let's face it, the singularly biggest reason why they're so successful is they had the good fortune of drafting Steph Curry. Now that the previous ownership group, but this ownership group had the intelligence of structuring a team to correctly take care of Curry.
What's interesting, too, about the Warriors, Steve, is that Bob Myers was never in the front office of any pro basketball team. I believe he was a sports agent, wasn't he?
He was a sports agent down in LA.
And he's the general manager now and one of the best in the game. And, I mean, you talk about a guy who was a quick study. I mean, that's a great story in itself.
He's done a brilliant job.
Wow.
Do you know him at all?
I'm sorry?
Do you know him at all? Have your paths crossed over the years?
I don't. Actually, I was excited because I remember one time before you were going to have me on, and the time that he was going to be on, I was all excited.
Yeah, he joined us.
A couple of times.
Just once.
I have tremendous respect for him.
He's not that old either.
I've also enjoyed different ways of saying in the last week that I can't tell you anything more about Steph Curry's ankle.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, I was reading the paper today. Half the paper literally was about, is Steph Curry going to play tonight? Will he play in 2 weeks? How's his ankle? I mean, it's just, man, you talk about a guy who's under the microscope. That's a great story, though. Hey, Steve, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure.
All right.
Yeah, we'll talk
Thank you,
again
Steve.
soon.
Okay.
Steve Baker, outstanding sports agent, who we mentioned some of the, he was talking about some of the clients he had over the years, and Jeff Garcia is the one that comes most prominently to mind, and that's a great story, too, because Jeff Garcia was a guy that was unheralded out of San Jose State and had a nice little career for about 3 or 4 years there with the 49ers.
Yeah, he was, who was the, I'm trying to remember, who took over for him at the time?
Who was the coach?
Yeah,
Steve Mariucci.
No, not the coach. Who was the quarterback? Because he sort of.
Oh, they had a bunch of guys. Well, at first, Steve Young got hurt in '99, and they just didn't have. I think Garcia. I don't know if he moved in right away, but it was pretty soon after that. They had a couple of bad years, and then they came back and had 2 nice years, and then for about 12 years they didn't do anything until they brought Jim Harbaugh in.
And then
So,
who replaced Garcia?
that's a good
Because it
question.
wasn't Colin Kaepernick.
No, Colin Kaepernick was much later. I'm drawing a blank. Alex Smith came along, I believe, in 2004, but I think there was somebody in between who didn't last very long.
Not Steve Bono.
No. Steve Bono was back in the days of Steve Young, back in the early 90s.
Montana,
Early and mid-90s, Montana and all that.
All right, let's talk about baseball. What's
Yeah.
going on now? Our Giants are not doing so well.
No,
right
but
now.
boy, the 2 Chicago teams, how about that? How about the White Sox? Now,
Yeah.
the Cubs we knew were legit, but the White Sox have got to go in. And their pitcher, their ace, their left-hander, the tall guy, Chris Sale, is just off to a terrific start. This is the one thing I love about sports. I mean, it's a long season, and it's too early to draw conclusions on what we've seen, but the White Sox were a team that were not supposed to be any kind of contender, and they've been a surprise. The team that I really like in the National League, though, is the Washington Nationals. Dusty Baker's done a great job there. And you have to say the Mets and the Cubs. The Giants are kind of be laying in the weeds. Right now they're in a hitting slump as we speak. That could change quickly. They're bound to come out of the funk.
But it's still early.
Well, they got off to the good news for the Giants. They got off to a great start.
Yeah.
Won 6 of the first 8. They lost 8 out of 9. So you can afford to go into a slump when you're playing really well. And it's early in the season.
There's about 10% of the season's over, maybe.
Yeah, but the thing you think you worry about more is injuries.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about Steph Curry. If the Warriors lose Steph Curry for an appreciable period of time, they're in trouble. Now they can beat Houston. They can probably beat some of the other teams in the West.
But get to San Antonio.
Can they beat San Antonio? Can they beat Cleveland without him? I don't think so.
that'd be
I mean,
tough.
they're a good team. They barely beat Houston the other night without him. So
Yeah, I was reading it. Just going back to baseball for a minute. I was reading that this year is the 100th anniversary of Wrigley Field.
Is that right?
1916.
But they weren't. The Cubs weren't the original team in there. There was a team called the Chicago Whales of the old Federal League.
In 1916, they still had the Federal League?
They still had the Federal League,
Wow.
and it was only around for 4 or 5 years. It tried to compete with the major leagues, and this is back in the day when the major leagues just was not. It wasn't.
Organized.
It's not, well, no, it was organized. It was a big time concern, but it wasn't like it is today. But the Federal League was, they tried to. They did like a lot of these fledgling leagues do. They tried to spend a lot of money and bring a lot of, noise to the table, and it just didn't work
Well, like the USFL got Steve Young.
Yeah,
they
USFL
tried to
or the
pick up players,
WHA. The only league that really succeeded as a fledgling league was the AFL. They forced a merger with the NFL,
Yeah.
and it turned out to be the best thing
Yeah.
for the NFL. I think the
Exactly.
merger made that league that much stronger, and it's been the preeminent league ever since.
That's true. So I was thinking, though, that the Cubs have never won a World Series
That's
in
right.
their own
Ballpark. They
Ballpark.
won it in 1908, and they were playing. I
07
think
and
it-
08.
07, 08, yeah.
No, I mean both.
Both years, yeah. And I think they were playing in some place like Weigman Fields or something. And they had guys like Three Finger Mordecai Brown was there.
And Tigers to Everest a chance.
Yeah,
back in
Tigers
those
never a
days.
chance. These are the subtlest of possible worlds.
Yeah.
Trio of Bearcats, fleeter than Cubs or something. Tigers to Everest a chance.
When you think about Mordecai Brown, you think, man, all they could do is just afford a pitcher that didn't even have all his fingers. But the thing is,
You know what's funny about that? You think about that. If he'd had a normal hand, he lost his part of one finger and part of another in a threshing accident as a kid.
Yeah.
And if he'd had a normal hand, he probably would have been a great pitcher because that strange alignment of fingers on the ball created a certain spin that gave him a unique style and, obviously the great Hall of Fame career that followed.
Now, he didn't. I think it was Burley Grimes was the last one to be able to
The
do
spitball.
the spitball. Yeah.
And he pitched into the 1930s. Interesting
Okay.
story about Three Finger, though. The Giants and the Cubs, and a lot of people don't know this because this is going way back to 1908. Giants and the Cubs were playing a game during the regular season in New York. Giants won the game in the ninth inning, but the winning run scored, but the runner behind him did not go to second base.
That's the old Fred Merkel.
Fred
Boner.
Merkel was a rookie.
Yeah.
And Johnny Evers, who was very heads up, called for the ball. They tagged second base. They called him out. They couldn't clear the field to finish the game. And the two teams ended up in a tie for the pennant, so they had to play a one-game playoff, which the Cubs won. And from that point on, Merkel was blamed. Merkel's boner. And he was only a 19-year-old kid. He had to live with that for the rest of his life. When he died, it wasn't like Fred Merkel had a nice 14-year career in the major leagues. Merkel's boner cost the Giants the pennant. And what that sobriquet, the boner.
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of, I don't know. It's sort of like a guy who hits a home run over the front fence,
and then misses
touch
second
the-
base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, really? Does this guy really have to run him on the bases?
Well,
or is
yeah,
it really for the
you
fans?
do. You have to do that, and it's still to this day. If you don't go to second base when the guy gets a game-winning hit, if you're on first and the winning run scores, and the ball comes in and it beats you to second base, you're out, and the run doesn't score.
Kind of reminds me.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking about how in football, I remember watching this one time. There was a kickoff, and a lot of times, guys down the ball. Well, this ball, it just landed in the end zone, and both of the guys who were back for the ball, basically, whatever. They walked away. Well, the offensive team was
Recovered the ball.
Yeah, they're very smart.
Yeah, it's a free ball.
That's
Touchdown.
right. Yeah, that's exactly
I
what
know. Can you
happened.
believe that? And was this in the pros?
It was.
Can you imagine the tongue lashing those guys must
You
have
gotta
got?
go, guys. Remember the rules.
Would have been bad enough in high school and college. In the pros, that's inexcusable.
Well, it's funny. Again, back to this thing about Merkel not hitting second base. But then you do have rules like, in the vicinity to protect the player.
Oh, you're talking about the Chase Utley rule. When Chase Utley went out of the baseline to knock that guy down at second base and broke his knee or broke his ankle or something. And now they have this rule that says that the infielder is not allowed to jump out of the way anymore and do the phantom tag at second base, which in a way makes sense. I mean, you should have to tag second base if it's a double play with your toe. But the problem is, you know, if you're in the line of sight of that running, the guy coming in, you know, he can do whatever he wants to take you out.
Yeah, but aren't what are the new rules about sliding into second base?
Well, you have to slide into, if you slide out of your way to get a guy who's already made the play, then you can get kicked out of the game and fined. That's a different story because that's a clear intent on hurting somebody.
Yeah, so even if you can touch the base, that's not the issue.
No.
It's you have to go right at the bag.
Exactly.
They're
Yeah.
taking all the fun out of baseball.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you know, come on. Let these guys hit each other. Come on, give us fans a
That's
little
right.
something.
It's just like football, you know.
Yeah.
Beat each other to a pulp.
That's why we pay the big bucks to see these guys bash each other's brains in. Yeah.
Back to basketball.
Yeah.
This is a pretty exciting year. You know, not just for the Warriors, but you know, LeBron's trying to get his Cleveland team
I'm
back in
telling you,
there.
I'm not going to discount the fact that LeBron and the Cavs could go all the way this year.
Because
I mean,
Kyrie Irving is healthy, isn't he?
yeah, he's healthy, and they've got Kevin Love healthy, and the Warriors didn't face those guys last year. Now, granted, the Warriors, I think, are a better team this year, but there's now a lot of concern about Steph Curry. Even if Steph Curry is cleared to play, how effective will he be with an ankle that you know is always going to be?
Is it his ankle or is it his foot?
Well, it's both.
It's
It's
both.
both, but apparently it's not. It doesn't sound to be extremely serious, but it's serious enough. He's going to be playing basketball for another month and a half under extreme pressure, and you know teams are going to try to exploit him physically. This isn't. I'd be surprised if he plays every game from here on in. I have a feeling they may rest him from time a lot more than they'd like to.
Well, I think they were very impressed with how they performed in Game 2
Well,
against Houston.
They were very lucky to have Sean Livingston available. This guy, you don't hear much about Sean Livingston. 6 teams in 8 years, and he had a horrific injury that almost ended his career. His knee was completely blown out. The ACL and the other ligaments were torn, and the knee cap was ruined. And they thought he may have even had to have had that leg amputated. He's come back and he's turned into an absolutely terrific backup point guard. And you watch him; he's kind of fun because he's sort of tall and skinny, and he runs the floor well. He's a good. What I like about Sean Livingston is he can shoot that mid-range jump shot, and a lot of guys don't know how to do that anymore.
I know it's amazing. He's not Michael Jordan, but he reminds me of his airness, where he does a jump shot, and it's like it takes 15 seconds for him to land. You know?
Now, think about one thing I like about Sean Livingston, though. I don't know what his shooting percentage is, but he always, when he's in that mid-range, 12 to 15, 8 to 12 to 15 feet, he always you get him. You watch him. You watch his body language, and you always get the feeling he's going to hit that shot.
Yeah,
he just looks like he's really confident.
And he definitely exploits when he's on he's got a point guard who's a foot shorter than he is. How tall is he? What, 6'9"?
About 6'8", 6'8" or 6'9". But he's also extremely well-spoken, extremely likable, and one of the more, they say he's got one of the highest basketball IQs around, so he's probably going to be a coach someday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not a kid. He's like in his 30s now. So it's nice to see this, though, because here's a guy that you don't hear a lot about. You hear about Curry and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, but you don't hear too much about guys like Maurice Spates or, well, you'll hear a little bit out of Iguodala because he's been a big name, but you don't hear a lot about Sean Livingston. But Sean Livingston's an important part of that Warrior team. And as we get further down the road, Edward, into the postseason, I think fans nationally are going to hear a lot more about it.
Same with Barbosa.
Yeah, Leandro Barbosa from Brazil. Yes.
Okay, here's our third final trivia question. In 2008, Tim Lincecum of the Giants won his first of 2 Cy Young Awards with his 18-5 season. Who was the runner-up for the award after going 22-7? All right.
Good question.
Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We're going to come back with some closing comments. Okay.
And I don't have a clue.
And you're a baseball.
I know, I'm a baseball guy.
You and I are more of the older baseball stuff.
Yeah.
Like the Burley Grimes and the...
Perfectly. I love these pins. You got Sea Cove. I don't know where that is. Oh, Sea Cove Inn. That's down in
Seal Cove?
Seal Cove.
Oh,
that's
that's
down
a beautiful place.
That's in Monterey, right?
No, it's right down at Moss Beach.
Oh, that's right. And then Laguna Beach House, which of course is Laguna Beach.
Yeah.
Is that a restaurant, Laguna Beach House?
Yes.
Nice one?
Very, very nice. Uh-huh. Good, yeah,
Did you stay at the Seal Cove Inn?
Yes.
Okay.
It's beautiful. I tried to get them to give me...
do a little trade with them?
Yeah, but they
wouldn't do it.
they're too popular. So
I like that little Oceana Hotel.
Yes.
That's a nice one. We
That's a
stayed
nice one,
there.
too.
The girls liked it so much. Molly brought a friend that they just, there were so many things to do within the confines of that building. They just stayed in the building the whole,
Really?
well, we got in there Saturday afternoon, didn't leave till Sunday morning, so it was like 14 hours. I took a surf and I took a walk, and Colette just chilled out. She had to do a bunch of homework, so she was on the computer most of the time, but the girls had a great time.
Good. Yeah, I gotta call then again, you can get them.
I got to take Colette up to that B&B up in Geyserville. Yeah, looks like fun. Looks like fun.
All right.
That's the only place that won't take kids, but that's okay. You know, it'd be
They
nice
don't
for.
allow kids? Or
No, they don't allow kids. You have to be 18 or older.
Really?
Yeah. I think they just want to have that atmosphere,
Yeah.
you know, of a romantic couple's place. That makes sense.
Well, welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Here is our final trivia question. In 2008, Tim Lincecum of the Giants won his first of 2 Cy Young Awards with his 18-5 season. Who was the runner-up for the award after going 22-7? Which I'm wondering why a guy going 22-7 would be.
Yeah, probably Lincecum had a better ERA or more strikeouts per walk.
Well, that's true. That's true. It's not just a win loss.
I'm gonna get. I can't, right off the top of my head, I can't remember the guy's name, but there was a pitcher on the Phillies who was really good for a while.
I'm trying to remember if he.
Not Cliff Lee.
No, because I was going to say 2008. That's when the Phillies went to the.
Yeah, they won the World Series that year, and I'm trying to remember who their ace was.
I'm trying to remember if this guy played for the Phillies or the Diamondbacks.
Oh, go ahead, name it.
Brandon Webb.
Brandon Webb. He played with Diamondbacks. But you know what happened to him? His shoulder got wrecked. I think it was his shoulder, his elbow, and he never was the same. Well, look at Lincecum. Lincecum's had the hip problem, and he's still waiting for a job. And I guess there's my phone again. Boy, I gotta turn that thing off.
So is Lincecum just going to be like not even in the bullpen, just sitting?
You know, right now, as from what I understand, he is working out in Arizona, and the Giants are getting other teams permission to look at him. Well, I guess they have to because he's no longer even under contract with the Giants. But the Giants are offering him the opportunity to be a middle reliever, but he wants to be a starter. I think there are enough teams.
You know what? He should be a middle reliever.
But here's the thing: there are enough teams out there that need help, and there's a lot of pitching shortages. Might as well pick him up. I mean,
could do it.
The way the Giants are going right now, they'd be on. They should pick him up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, Jake Peavy and Matt Cain never lost the season. Those two guys are over the hill.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Thoughts for the day. Pitching is just a giant game of chess, predicting your opponent's next move to stay one step ahead.
I like it. Who said that?
You know what's funny? I'm trying to remember. I don't have the name on there. Okay, I think it was anonymous.
Jeez, it sounds like the Vikings are trying to get in touch with me now.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
And Mickey Mantle said, if I had known I was going to live this long, I'd taken better care of myself.
Yeah, well, he only lived about 63 years.
Yep.
You know, he drank himself to death,
That's
basically. Yeah.
Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective, giving away more free vacations.
I like that.
Trivia
The
questions.
free vacations.
Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. Well, we'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long.
All right, that's the thing.
Yeah,
My wife has to say. My wife is, I guess she should know better to call me in the middle of a radio show. Come on, Colette.
Eva did that. She's done that.
Come on. She knows that I'm in the middle of a radio show. Call me back, please. It sounds urgent. Okay.
Good timing then.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully the mouse's problem has been taken care of. We don't have a mouse. It's hi, sweetie. What's up? Yeah, not a problem. We just finished doing the radio show. Did you see the picture I sent of the mouse? I don't think he. Well, I tried to get him out, and it's really tough for him. I don't know how he got. I guess he wedged his way in there just to avoid the cat. But you know, I tried to get him out, and he can't get him out. He needs to squeeze out himself. I don't know how he's going to do it.